Hey everyone. So I wanted to quickly take you through what it takes to clean up a background for compositing. It's a two-step process, and I know that we're talking about prepping backgrounds for Toon Boom. That's a thing that I'll go over after, but it's a pretty quick process once the entire thing is cleaned up. Basically, After Effects is a little flimsy at times when it comes to really big 4K backgrounds. That's why they need to be as tidy as possible, especially since we don't want to end up having to have like cropped version of the background, depending on how close or far we are in the shot. We want to remain with as big a background as possible, but also a background that's as cleaned up as possible so that we can zoom into it without breaking After Effects. So let me take you through that process. Most of you guys obviously already know this. This is for anyone who's coming in halfway through the process. So this is Interior Moonshiner Bullpen Counter Table version 9 AM. And it needs to be cleaned up because we're shipping it out to Canada. So first thing, we need to just take a second to look at the background and try to figure out what needs to be separate and separated as its own layer, and what needs to be merged. This entire process is more about merging and combining things and playing it smart so that we end up with as few layers as possible. So there's a lot of merging. It's a lot of combining certain shadows. I know that at times backgrounds are built in a way that shadows are all combined when they should actually be broken up so that they really remain with their own objects. Then it's about getting rid of all smart objects, because smart objects inside of Photoshop will make the file go insanely crazy. Making sure that the project, that the Photoshop canvas is cropped to its normal dimensions, so nothing outside of the canvas, or else again After Effects will freak out. I think that's basically it. Let's just go through it, and if there's anything that comes up, we'll talk about it. So there's a lot going on here. It's a beautiful background, and there's so much detail in it. It's crazy. So what do we got? Quickly, I just start by just kind of eyeing on and off what's there. Yeah. So in this, what we need, because I'm familiar with the edits, so I guess I'm cheating a little bit, but normally we would kind of have to review the animatic and see what needs to be separate. Like, I know that there's characters definitely walking through that door, but we never actually really see anyone interact with the props on the counter. So actually all of this could be just cropped as one. It could be merged as one. So I'm gonna take basically all of it up to the door, which is, yeah, this is table, this is chair. Yeah, all of this could be merged. The shortcut is Command E, by the way. It's gonna take a second because it's freaking out a little bit. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, I'm sure. Boom. So that's already merged. Obviously, there's more that needs to be merged. We shouldn't have all those items separate from the rest of the background. So let's find them. Problem is, I don't want to merge that chair and the table. Those should definitely remain separate. Boom. Also, bear in mind there's an element of us being able to mask in After Effects. If certain objects are merged when they shouldn't be, it's not the end of the world. We could still figure it out by doing certain, box masks in After Effects. For example, that door in the background. I know in an ideal world, we would have a layer that's behind it, that's the room in the back, and a layer that's just the wall in front of it. It really doesn't matter that much in After Effects. We'll just make sure that characters obviously don't walk through the wall, because it would look stupid. So all of that could be merged. It makes the whole file a lot easier to process. What else? And there's some food. So I know the food needs to be separate from the table because in the, I think it's 104 needs it, but not 103. So I just happen to know that because I'm familiar with the edit, but it's one of those things we need to bear in mind. I'm sure Emily would be able to take you through it. What else? So, alright, all those shadows are 1. It's not ideal if it were to be separate objects that need to be moved independently from one another, but in this case, it really doesn't matter because we're not going to go inside what's on the counter and move objects around. It would take way too long. So, I'm going to do this. Boom. And now we have our shadows officially merged with our main background. You know what? We could actually keep those objects separate from the background so that if we wanted to, we could just move it slightly. So there they all are. Disk junk, a completely appropriate name. And it's all merged now. There we go. Well, see, now we have the case of the shadow, so let's just merge it with the background. Boom. Alright. Let's merge this thing too. What is it anyways? It's the calibrator. Everybody needs a calibrator in their house. Boom. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Table, chair, table, food, light. Okay, light. Alright, so sometimes we'll encounter some blending options. That light does need to remain separate because it's so far in front of the counter that it might need to be. There might end up being some stuff going in front of it. I'm not quite sure, but it's just safe to keep it as its own layer. But we do have this layer right here, which has the pass-through blending mode. The problem with it is that when I try to bring it into the, when I try to merge the two together, notice that the light changes slightly. It's not great, especially on the shadow here. We never want them to not be pitch black. So what happens is that we'd have to throw this layer right here into its own lighting folder. And I'll get to it in a second. Before now, let's just keep it independent from the rest. Merge this so that it's its own layer, and we have a light. Alright, we'll get to it in a second. What's this? Door lights. Yeah, these could be merged with the background. Boom. What else? Can toss this. Alright, here are the doors. So a door has different states, open and closed, and sometimes we get some in between. All of those need to remain, need to stay as their own layers, because when it comes to animation, they'll need to be able to remove them easily. Boom. Alright, so now we have two states. We have door closed and doors open. Great. And we can toss that folder. Counter. That needs to be separate, obviously, because there's a lot going on with characters in front and in the back of it. So just going to merge that entire folder. Same with the chair. Merge. Boom. It's its own thing. Alright, so that's basically it for all the major elements. And then we have certain position reference points for the animation team. Great to leave in there, but doesn't need to stay like, just leave one really. So let's keep this one and merge them. Merge as much as you can, because it's really what will bring down the size of the entire project. Merge, merge. Great. Get rid of this. Anything that's unnecessary at this point, just toss it. Boom. Alright, and then we have that lighting folder, which I'm not sure if it's being used at any point, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it in here. It's got a bunch of things in it. Just leave them triggered off and bring that one layer light that we talked about earlier, this one, inside of it. So it will keep its blending mode, and we keep that black shadow right here. Great. All right. So that's it. We have about 10 or so layers, and it's kind of it's the sweet spot. It's about 10 for this size. A project is pretty good. All right. So labeling. Let's go back in and label. So this is the I tend to call like the main background just BG. I know it's lame, but it helps decipher which one's really the big one. Alright, table, chair. Boom. Table, great. Food. Light, great. Door closed. Door open. Let's get rid of all that. Counter, great. Counter, chair. Alright, then we have some characters reference. We can put this one behind the counter so we can see it. Actually, behind counter, put it right here. Yeah, so now we can really see. And it's called that character ref. And we can merge Woodsman with the rest of them. Okay. Boom. And this is board. That'll help too. It's obviously it won't show up, but it's good for the animation team for positioning purposes. Great. Alright, so that's basically what oh, no. One last thing, very, very important. Make sure you crop the whole thing to the dimension of the background, or else we end up with all of that extra stuff. And it actually makes the background almost twice as big as it needs to be in size on the server. So not great. Just crop it. Takes a second. There we go. All right, so that's it. Now this background is prepped for After Effects. Now the second step, and it'll be quick, is prepping for Toon Boom. It's a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. It's just labeling the layers. The reason we do that is because Toon Boom has this algorithm where it won't be able to know what to do with the layers unless they're numbered and put in a folder. It's a pain in the ass, but it's French Canadians. I don't know how they code. It's crazy. 001. And so you start from the what's furthest away. So just from the bottom layer-wise and work your way up. This is 002, 003 underscore. It has to be 3 digits underscore, then followed by the name. 005, 006, 007. Boom. Alright, and the lighting folder can remain exactly as is. What happens with those lighting folders is they won't even show up in Toon Boom because there's no reason for the animators to even pay attention to that. It's more of a compositing issue. So as long as they don't affect the animation whatsoever, we're good. And then I use the shortcut Command G for grouping. We have to put every single one of these layers inside their own folder that has the same number as the layer. It's a pain in the ass, but let's just do it quick. There we go. And from the bottom, 001, 002, 003. Hey, there we go. Alright, so now this background is all set up and ready to go, ready to be shipped, ready to be used in Toon Boom. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help.